Hi there, I'm the_Twig, and I like analysing game rules. There's a lot of spells in this book, like over 100 pages of them. Some of them are new, some are basically the same, but some have had some pretty big changes, and these are a few of my favourite ones. Summon Me is a 6th level spell exclusive to the Patron supporter class. It's an action cast 1 month duration spell with a material component of a few dollars that allows you to summon me on Discord. You can ask me questions, chat and hang out, and it also allows you to see my videos early and without ads. If you upcast it, you also get to shake hands with the spirits of Bruce Lee, David Bowie, Hypatia and Alan Turing. SK found that to be an absolutely life-changing experience, and can confirm that he has suffered no ill effects from the exposure to necromantic magic. So, we'll start off with a cantrip. Blade Ward has been turned into an action cast 1 minute concentration spell, which gives everyone -1d4 on attack rolls against you. That is really good. I can definitely see a fighter or a monk getting Magic Initiate Wizard as their origin feat, and then grabbing Blade Ward alongside Find Familiar and maybe Minor Illusion. For characters who probably wouldn't be concentrating on anything anyway, it's just free AC. And even for a low level wizard, it might still be good if they, for whatever reason, don't want to use Tash's Hideous Laughter. Absolutely fantastic little spell. Next we have one that isn't so good, but I do think is really cool. In 2014, Contagion was an awful spell. It was a spell attack to just poison, and then 3 turns later they might get a fairly debilitating condition. Ray of Sickness is a 1st level spell which is better than that, and it's still trash. This new version of Contagion is now a constitution targeting save or suck, and if they fail they take 11d8 damage, are poisoned for at least 3 rounds, and while poisoned have disadvantage on a save of your choice. That is incredibly debilitating, assuming you can get it to stick. It does still have the issues of being a touch spell, and it's now a save or suck, targets Constitution, which is probably the worst save to target, and it gives out the very commonly immune poison condition. But I do still think it is cool as hell. It's probably overcosted at 5th level though. Going back down to 1st level, we have one of my favourite spells, Armour of Agathys. This one has had a couple of changes. First off, a change that isn't really a part of the spell itself. Armour of Agathys is now completely locked to the Warlock. There is no way to get it without at least 1 level of investment. Not without backwards compatibility at least. It is still on the Conquest Paladin and the Divinely Favoured feat. As for the actual changes, it's now a bonus action, which is really nice for Bladelocks who want to attack and then give themselves some defences, and also the ending condition has changed. It used to say, while you have these hit points, but it now says, the spell ends if you have no temporary hit points. That's really subtle, but an absolutely massive difference. Let's say that you're a Fiend Patron Warlock, and you kill someone nearby, giving you a new set of temp HP from Dark One's Blessing. In 2014, if you took the temp HP, then Armour of Agathys would end. AoE could only ever have the temp HP that you cast it with. In 2024 though, you can take that temp HP. If your Armour of Agathys got hit down to 2 temps remaining, and you got 10 from Dark One's Blessing, then you can effectively just recharge your AoE. This works best with big bursts of temp HP, rather than small amounts over time. So we really want to be looking for features which give us a huge one-time boost. All of the polymorph type effects now give temp HP instead of a separate pool, which means that if we polymorph into a giant ape, we suddenly have 157 temps in our Armour of Agathys. That's going to stay up for a while, although it does lose all of our spellcasting and other fun options. The new power word Fortify gives us a flat 120 temps, and we can keep all of our class features. One option that I really like is a single level Warlock tip on a Moon Druid. They can cast AoE, run around in Druid form, and then when it gets low, jump into Wild Shape to boost themselves back up to 3 times their Druid level. And if it gets low again, they can do the same thing a second time, because you don't need to be out of Wild Shape to Wild Shape. There's a lot of cool things that you can do with Armour of Agathys, and I'm definitely going to be talking about it more in the future. Taking it back down a key to a spell that is just sort of neat, Resistance. In 2014, it was an awful cantrip. But those of you who were following the playtest will know that it was possibly the best cantrip? Well, now it's just sort of good, and the name makes a lot more sense. 1 minute, concentration, choose any damage type except for Force or Psychic, and the first time the target would take that damage each turn, reduce it by 1d4. Like Blade Ward, I don't think it's great on a full caster, but it could be good on a Marshal who just took a level of Druid for whatever reason. Nice and simple, and not too strong or too weak. Right, our final spell is kind of the entire reason I wanted to make this video. To be honest, everything before now has kind of been filler because I didn't want to make an entire video about just one new spell without properly playing around with it. In D&D 2014, how many times did you see someone cast Giant Insect? I'm willing to bet it's not very often. Well, that's probably going to change, because oh my god is it good now. It now works like a Tasha's summon. You get to summon this stat block and choose either Centipede, Spider or Wasp. Giant Insect is a 4th level spell for Druid exclusively, and something that I think is relevant to mention is that there's no material component, so you don't need to search for a 200 GP Acorn. Defensively, it's got an AC of 11 plus spell level, which is fairly standard for Tasha's summons, but the HP is 30 plus 10 times spell level. That would mean that at 4th level, this has 70 HP. This is almost certainly a typo. It should say each spell level above 4th, and as such I will be treating it as if it had 30 HP. That's honestly fairly weak for a Tasha's summon. I think that only Beast and the skeleton form of Undead have defenses that poor, but this guy isn't meant to be a tank. If we go down the stat block a bit, we can see that it has a 40-foot climb speed, spider climb, and the spider form gets to make 2 web bolt attacks, which have 60 feet range, deal 1d10 plus 7 damage each, and reduce the target speed to 0. On the ground, that's just a really good movement denial control effect. You can stop the melee guys from getting close to you, or force them to just remain standing inside another player's AoE effect. The super juicy part of this though is when you're fighting flying enemies. When you drop a flyer's speed to 0, they immediately fall to the ground, taking extra damage, and suddenly being in range of your fighter and paladin to wail on them. The spider form is probably now the best way that the druid has to combat flying enemies, and it's a really good one. As for the other forms, the centipede isn't that great, it gets a bonus action to poison someone, but the wasp is interesting because it's a large-sized flying creature, so it could be a mount. I'm not sure if it can be a controlled mount or not. The rules here are vague and basically come down to DM decision, but it's a good way for you to keep your allies out of danger, or maybe just get everyone over the river or something. I think that in 2024 we can expect a lot of druids to cast Giant Insect. There's a load of other spells that got big changes. Jump is now a really fun movement spell. All of the Conjure X spells changed, including of course the somewhat terrifying Conjure Minor Elementals, and Weird is now probably as good as a 5th or 6th level spell. Have you got any favourites? I've got some cool stuff queued up. I think including a video about how exactly the new equipping rules work, a proper full deep dive on 2-weapon fighting, and I think I want to do some sort of Defense of the Ranger thing, because it's a lot better than many people seem to be saying it is. If you want to see those, subscribe, and why not share this around? Bye!